coming up on the 70% podcast.
So the Kyle Rittenhouse case, they're saying that he's a white supremacist who killed white people.
Okay.
So how is the media depicting this as a racial issue when this white man killed white people?
Because he killed white people that happened to be campaigning for a black issue.
Right. So now it's a race issue.
Now it's a race issue. Yeah. What if there was like a black real estate agent and an Asian real estate agent sitting on the street and they're just fighting each other?
Oh, God. Because we didn't get the listing.
Right. Yeah, y'all pissed because I got the listing.
And I've never had any problems in Wisconsin when it comes to, except for that one incident I was telling you about the police officer.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've never had any problems with being treated differently because of the color of my skin.
Right.
And breaks down and starts to cry on the stand about what he had to do to defend himself. And you have the national media mocking him. No, Joy on The View.
Yeah.
Mocking him.
Why isn't that show shut down?
About the way he's crying on the stand, because it looks like he's acting. Like, oh my God, he's such an actor, and those tears aren't real. And but this child, he's still a child. I don't care if he's 18.
Mm-hmm. He's
still a child.
Yeah, he was a child
who went through a traumatic experience, who took lives,
and will never ever be able to forget that.
Ever.
The 70% podcast with your host, Amy Alexander and Mike Sewell.
So let's do this.
All right.
We are
the 70% podcast.
I'm Mike Sewell.
I'm Amy Alexander.
Thank you for joining us tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about white supremacy.
White supremacy. Okay.
Yep, white supremacy tonight. And so just so that the listeners understand what Amy and I do, we put together an agenda of what we're going to talk about on a weekly basis. Okay. And it just so happened that tonight was the white supremacy discussion, and the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I think they're in deliberations. I think the jury's in deliberations right now.
I think so.
Right.
We're waiting for a verdict.
Right. That's where we're at. They had the closing arguments, all that stuff is done. But here's the thing. The media is depicting this as a racial issue.
What?
Right. So you have this young man. He was 17 years old at the time.
A 17-year-old white guy.
Who shot white people.
3 of them, right?
Correct. Now let's not talk about the pedophilia and all that.
Yeah.
Look, we won't even get into that.
Besides
all of that.
Yeah.
A white guy shooting white guys, and the media is trying to depict this as a racial issue.
How can they? How are they spinning it?
Well, they're saying because these people, the people that got shot were there for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh, so because they were there for a movement that was for Black
Lives Matter. Correct. Yep.
Then even though they're white, that was a racial thing.
Exactly.
Even though he was running for his life.
Correct.
And only shot the people that were attacking him.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing, okay? I do not agree with a 17-year-old crossing state lines with a firearm to protect or whatever his intentions were.
I don't either.
I don't agree with that.
I think his intentions were decent. I think the
idea of his intentions were noble. In the respect that he wanted to protect property from being destroyed.
Right. And you and I in Green Bay, Wisconsin, we were like, oh, hell no, not in our city.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to do that in Minnesota? You want to do that in Milwaukee? You want to do that in Chicago? Fine, but you are not.
No,
going to do that here.
You even
Green
had
Bay,
a conversation with our local police force and said, what can we do to come help you?
Exactly. I called the police force and I'm like, hey, look, here's what's happening.
There are a bunch of us.
I'm putting together a group of us. We have these color T-shirts. We are going to stand in front of these properties, and we're not going to allow people to destroy them. Now, we weren't coming with guns.
No.
We weren't going to instigate or,
No,
jump,
we were just going to be a chain standing in front of these businesses so that people were less
likely to
destroy the businesses in downtown Green Bay.
Right. And thank God we didn't have to even go that far.
Right.
I mean, Green Bay really took care of that situation, nipped it in the bud really quickly.
Right.
However, let's to go back to the situation that we're talking about, the Kyle Rittenhouse. So you got this young man, he coming across the state lines, he's got a gun, and he's, in my opinion, has a noble cause where he's going to try to help business owners maintain the integrity of their business.
Okay.
Right? He gets into an altercation with several people. He's running for his life. Okay? He's being attacked.
Right.
Now, this child at 17 years old, I can't even say that I would have had.
Don't you have a 17-year-old daughter?
I have a 16-year-old.
Okay, so same-ish
in the
age.
same age, right.
Yeah.
I can't say as a 50-year-old male, and I look good for 50, just by the way, just want to throw
You
that out.
can't see that on the radio.
I know.
Okay.
But I mean, if Hanson was a voice.
Anyway.
Okay, all right. Okay, so even at my age, I can't say that I would have had the composure that he had to only shoot the people who was attacking him.
The people that were attacking him, though, did he provoke them to attack him? Do we know that?
That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that question.
Because, I mean, I really don't think that it's necessarily white supremacy that created this situation. I think it's black supremacy or not black supremacy, but black, like the riots and everything. There've been so many situations where Black Lives Matter have destroyed businesses and buildings and everything else.
Yeah, but if you look at that, Amy, if you look at some of the videos, even in Minnesota, there were okay, so you have the quote unquote Black Lives Matter movement, but you got freaking white people burning shit down.
Well,
excuse my language.
I don't know why. I don't know. Why is there a quote unquote
Antifa and because what?
Why is there a quote unquote?
Because Black Lives Matter is not necessarily black people doing the destruction.
Right. Antifa decided that they are going to help make sure that.
So you have.
So aren't they the white supremacists then?
Even in Minnesota, okay, when things went awry, you had black people trying to stop these white people from burning down businesses and throwing rocks and stuff through windows.
So it was the white people doing that, not the black people?
No, okay. So were some people opportunistic? Absolutely. Okay. But it was not, it didn't start off where the Black Lives Matter people or the people that were marching for Black Lives Matter, it didn't start off as them destroying property.
Right.
It started off as a peaceful movement, and they were marching, and then the riot started. So the first incident that took place, let's just say in Minnesota, there was a gentleman, a white guy, who started throwing bricks and stuff through windows.
Well, he's an asshole.
But what I'm saying is that that's an Antifa guy.
Right.
That's an extreme liberal who is inciting a riot and kind of understanding that some people are going to be opportunistic.
Right.
And say, oh, somebody already broke the window. I guess I'll go get myself a television.
What?
Does it make it right? No, it does not make it right. But what I'm saying is that it didn't necessarily start out with black people destroying property.
Right. Just like it didn't start with Trump supporters breaking into the White House or to the Capitol.
Right.
So how do you distinguish that? I mean, if that is the case, and I wasn't there. I am never going to sit around and say, hey, yeah, I know exactly what happened because I saw it on TV.
Well,
that's bullshit.
That's ridiculous.
But I think that if that was the case, or if that's the case,
Mm-hmm.
then why isn't the liberal media saying, "Hey, wait a second, you guys, it's not Black Lives Matter. It's these other pricks that are doing this, and they're the white supremacists, or they're not."
You're talking about Antifa and
Right,
stuff
right,
like
right.
Yeah. Well, if we let's backtrack this a little bit so we could get back on the subject matter of white supremacy.
Yes.
So the Kyle Rittenhouse case, they're saying that he's a white supremacist who killed white people.
Okay.
So how is the media depicting this as a racial issue when this white man killed white people?
Because he killed white people that happened to be campaigning for a black issue.
Right. So now it's a race issue.
Now it's a race issue. Yeah.
And it's not.
I think
It's not.
I don't know what he said, but whatever. But at some point, it was a self-defense. I mean, there was a guy that was. I saw the video. I will admit that I don't know all the details about the case itself,
Right.
or I know they're in deliberation. I know the basic details. I know what each side is saying as far as the general he said, she said.
Right.
And it's hard to say whether or not he went there. Did he go there to shoot black people, or did he go there just to be a part of the protest and ended up being in a situation, wrong place, wrong time?
Part of the anti-protest.
Right.
Not the protest.
Oh,
'Cause he
the
didn't go there to-
anti-protest,
right.
yes.
He didn't go there to protest. He went there to protect property.
Right.
Right. Here's the thing. He shouldn't have been there. His mother should have kept his 17-year-old butt in that house.
Okay, Mike,
with his
let's
gun.
see. Are you keeping your 17-year-old kid in the house?
My 16-year-old.
Okay.
First off, no, she's not running around doing stuff
Right,
like that.
okay.
I don't know.
Is it
That
very
ain't-
possible, though, that
Listen,
it's
I don't play
parents?
that.
Okay.
I don't play that.
All right.
No.
I know my mom didn't have any control of me when I was 17.
Well, listen.
Not that she's a bad
yeah,
lady or anything, but I was an adult before I even knew what the word meant.
And my daughter is very intelligent, very strong-willed. She's extremely independent. Mm-hmm. However, the relationship that her and I have is one of respect and trust, and we have discussions about what she should and shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And she 9 times out of 10 will listen to even if she doesn't agree to what I say needs to be done.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And
what
it's
if
a
that
respect thing.
10th
Like, I don't-
time out of 10,
put
that
my
was
hands
what
on
his
her or nothing
situation
like that.
was?
It's just a respect thing.
Right,
you know?
right.
Well, his mother was in agreement of it. If you look at the videos and stuff like that, or the interviews with his mother, she was in agreement.
I
of
didn't
him.
get in that deep of a.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
she
just
was-
looking at the trial stuff, and looking at evidence. I don't.
She was fine with him coming to. I guess apparently his father lives in Racine. They're divorced. She lives in Chicago.
Right.
Or
So
he came across. I came across the border, and with the gun.
And it's probably influenced more by his dad when it comes to firearms and stuff, or no? I don't know.
I don't see a problem with the firearm.
We are an open.
except the fact that he crossed state lines with it. That's the
Right.
only problem I see with the firearm. Like, I don't have a problem with people carrying firearms, AK-47s. You could carry.
Right,
bazooka
but we
if
are
you
in an
want. I
open
don't
carry
care.
state. So
Right.
if you have a firearm and
I'm
you
not going to try it, but
No, but I've been to rallies. I've been to some Tea Party rallies. I mean, they all walked around with their AK. I never even flinched or thought that I was in danger.
Yeah.
It was to prove a point.
Like I said, I'm not going to walk down the street with an AK-47.
Well, no, either am I, because I'll just hang out with the guys that do, and then I don't have to worry about it. I'll just carry my soda. Anyway, I'm kidding. I don't drink soda.
Okay.
Anyway,
so let's get deeper into this discussion about white supremacy.
Okay.
So we got the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And as far as I'm concerned, the young man is not a white supremacist. Okay, he came here to Wisconsin, to Racine, to try to protect property. It was a noble cause, and I say noble because I did it myself. Like, I said, no, I'm not going to have people tearing up stuff
Right.
in Green Bay. This is my home.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I live, and I'm not going to have people destroying my town. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I get his compassion or what do you call it? I get I understand what he was
his passion for what he was trying to accomplish.
Trying to protect the property and stuff I get that. I think he went about it the wrong way, but I do not think that he's a white supremacist. And the media today will try to make us believe that white supremacy is prevalent in the United States today. Like the KKK are ruling, they're ruling situations, or they're
well, not unless they're all members of Congress,
or just white supremacy. Don't get me wrong. There's probably racist people who belong to the KKK that are in Congress. However, it is not as, in my opinion, of course, prevalent as it used to be back in the 50s and 60s.
In the Jim Crow days and the
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me ask you this. So if you and I, as we were ready to defend the city of Green Bay, when we knew that there were riots coming or whatever we thought, and we were both standing at a curb trying to protect these businesses, somebody ran after you and you turn around and beat them up. Somebody ran after me and I turn around and beat them up, which is a funny thing to think about anyway, because I weigh like a buck nothing. But what would be...
I'm scared of you.
Most people are. It's not how you look, it's what you say and how you say it. How do you think that the media would have portrayed that based on who we are?
It's hard to speculate that. It really is. I mean, I can't say. So I believe, okay, and this is going to sound disgusting, but I believe that if I were to physically assault someone, even if I was defending myself, in the city of Green Bay, I would be the person that's arrested, even if it was self-defense.
Okay. Are you talking about a woman, a man, or are you just talking about anybody?
First off, I would never hit a woman.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to clear that up right away. I don't care what a woman does to me unless she's pulling a gun on me, Right. And even if she did that, I'd probably try to just get out of the situation. Right. But I would never just, I'll put my hands on a woman. So we're talking about a man-on-man conflict here.
Okay.
We're talking about a Caucasian man, okay, coming at me in a violent manner, and I have to protect myself.
Okay.
I truly believe that in that instance, that I would still be the person that would end up in jail. Okay.
That is very possible. Let me ask you this. What if it was an Asian man?
So if it was an Asian man or another black man or anything like that, I think that because of my my education, the way I speak, the way I carry myself, the job that I have, I think that if the other person didn't have those things going for them, and if they had a criminal record, I would be let go, and that person would be the one charged.
What if there was like a black real estate agent and an Asian real estate agent sitting on the street and they're just fighting each other?
Oh, God. Because we didn't get the listing.
Right. Yeah, y'all pissed because I got the listing. No, I'm just...
We could go hypotheticals all day long.
There are 8,000 scenarios, and none of them could be right.
Right, and the only thing I can say is the only reason why I feel that way, okay, and is because I've been in that situation where a white gentleman pushed me. He put his hands on me, pushed me. I called the police, and I asked the police to arrest him for assault. And the police officer told me, he didn't hurt you. Look how big you are. He's a little guy. He didn't hurt. Really? What difference does it? So if that guy would have, when he pushed me, if I had knocked him out, I would have been in jail. for defending myself.
Right. And that's where there is a very fine line between intent and like self-defense.
Right.
And but it seems like it's thought of in a different way depending on what color you are.
So bringing this back, full circle to the white supremacy situation. Okay. I don't believe, I think there's some biases, when it comes to certain situations or whatever the case may be. And not all people are like that, because there was another situation. Okay. And I don't know why I end up in these situations. It just happens. Okay. So I'm at a bar with some.
This one time at a bar
with some friends.
This one time when I was drinking, I ate a salad and everything turned out all right.
And there's this gentleman, white guy, and he's just being belligerent and being nasty and stuff like that. And he, long story short, the police came and things like that, and they ended up having to tase the guy and all of this other stuff. And one of the police officers came up to me. He said, "Hey, you should have knocked him out," And he said that because of the way the guy was acting and
right.
he was being, stuff
right.
like that. And so I was on the opposite side of that as well. So I got this police officer, white police officer, and this white guy who they
like,
had
why didn't you
punch
that SOB?
And that's what he was saying. Why didn't you, he was kind of saying, why didn't you, as big as you are, and
right.
I could tell that you could defend yourself. Why didn't you do something to detain this guy? You know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, because I don't want to end up in jail. And he told me right out, like, we wouldn't have done anything to you.
Right, but you don't know that.
Right.
Getting into that situation.
So there's both sides of the coin. So I'm not saying that Green Bay in general is racist cops or anything. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I've been in both situations. But when it comes to, and I keep trying to bring this back to white supremacy, is because I don't see that in today's America. Okay. Now I could be wrong, because I'm living in Green Bay, Wisconsin, but this is predominantly white town. Northeast Wisconsin, not just Green Bay, Wisconsin, but northeast Wisconsin. Right, and I've traveled all the way up north.
Right,
okay?
We go from Marinette all the way down to Fond du Lac, all the way up to Door County, up to Crandon. Yeah,
and that's way up north. And I've never had any problems in Wisconsin when it comes to. Except for that one incident I was telling you about, the police officer.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've never had any problems with being treated differently because of the color of my skin.
Right. But do you think you would be treated differently because there are times when you talk a certain way that reminds me of Brooklyn. And do you think you would be treated differently if that's the way you acted towards police? And I don't know how else to say that but you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. I need you to be more explicit.
Really?
Explain.
Okay, so talk to me like in Ebonics.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell me.
So what you're saying is that
you know what I'm talking about, Mike. You did it. You did it at the restaurant tonight, and I was like, "What the hell? You don't talk like that."
So what you're saying is that because some people may not have the education and able to use or they use more Ebonics, then they should be treated differently?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the things that come out of your mouth and the way you say them, whether it's Ebonics or not, because that is... in some cases, that seems like, and even when you do it, I'm like, oh my God, what a cocky little attitude. Like, I would never, what?
I think police should be trained to talk to anybody. I don't care where they're coming from. I don't care how they're speaking. I don't care how they're coming across. I think police officers should be trained to be able to handle any situation that they're in. So if they're speaking to someone who is talking or speaking with a lot of Ebonics, or speaking to someone who's Asian who can't speak English very well, or speaking to someone who's Indian who, when I say Indian, I'm talking about, anyway, who can't speak English very well. I think police officers need to be trained to handle those situations. So no, I don't think that because someone is speaking more Ebonics than the other
Ebonics
person.
isn't even the right word. It's more of a cocky attitude, like, what the fuck are you going to do? And word, blah, 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 you know, stuff like that. But I think white people do that too.
You know, here's the thing. If you are a police officer, you should, in my opinion, you should be trained to deal with most situations that you're going to walk into. So if you're walking into a situation where there's someone who is not speaking the traditional broken, you know, English, you know.
And if you there are certain communities, I mean, there have been for centuries. Like when my parents came, or my great-great-great-grandparents came here, they probably spoke German and had to learn English. I mean, there are different languages all over the place, and that's not what I'm saying.
Well, there's different cultures. There's different ways of, you know.
But there should be a universal attitude, don't you think? If everybody wants to just get along, it doesn't matter what language you speak.
I think it's okay to be frustrated. I think that's okay. I think it's so if you're just being completely belligerent and disrespectful, then I do not agree with that.
Right.
Okay. But if you're frustrated and you're expressing your frustrations, you shouldn't be penalized because you're expressing your frustrations.
Okay. So only if you're not a cop.
If you're a professional, you're a professional.
Okay.
If you're a cop, if you're a police officer,
then no frustrations.
If you're a police officer, then you should know how to handle that situation.
Okay.
And if you don't, then you don't need to be a police officer.
Okay. What if the training is the problem?
Well, I already think that. When we talk about defund the police, most discussions are about retraining the police.
Right.
It's not about getting rid of the police
Do you
officers
think that
or getting rid
defunding
of the police department or anything like that. It's about taking that money and repurposing the money for different types of training for the police officers.
Do you think that a lot of individuals in the black community think that police are against them because they're white supremacists?
I can't speak for everybody in the black community. I
can't speak for everybody in the white community.
Right. I can only speak to my experience. Mm-hmm. And in my experience, I have not ran into many police officers in Northeast Wisconsin or in Wisconsin in general where I felt like my life or my well-being was threatened. However, in Illinois, California, Brooklyn, New York, there have been plenty of times where I've had encounters with police officers.
White police officers?
Correct.
Okay.
Where I felt like my safety was in danger.
Because they had no respect for you or who you were.
Correct.
Okay.
So there was and I can name a couple of incidents, but I'm just going to talk about this one in particular. My brother and I were driving down the street. An unmarked car with a bunch of police officers. And when I say a bunch, I was probably 6 police officers because they were in a big black SUV. Mm-hmm. Drove past us. We're looking at them. They're looking at us. They turn the corner and they pull right in front of us. So we're sitting at the light in our car. They pull right in front of us and park the car right in front of us. My brother and I jump out of the car because we can't go anywhere. We can't move the car to go anywhere. So we jump out of the car because it's like, okay, something's, this is not cool. Something's going down, right? Mm-hmm. So we jump out of the car and we're gonna run. Right? They never identified themselves.
Right.
And they pointed guns at us. Finally, after pointing guns at us and running up on us, they identified themselves. Okay? Mm-hmm. Which they should have identified themselves in the beginning.
Right.
Okay? The only reason why we didn't end up in jail or in any kind of trouble was because we were process servers at the time.
Okay.
So we showed them our process serving license.
And did you ever find out why they did that to you?
And we were auxiliary police officers as well.
Okay.
So we showed them our process serving license. We showed them our badge for auxiliary police to be auxiliary police officer, which means that we carried a badge, but we didn't carry guns. You know,
Right.
so
we were like deputies or whatever.
Yeah. You know, we would do events and stuff like that. And no, they didn't tell us why they did what they did. They did not. You know, they just.
And these were white police officers.
Yep.
Okay.
All of them, every one of them. And so they took our identification, took our badge, and when we identified ourselves as auxiliary police officers and process servers, they let us go. We went on our way, you know. But let's just say hypothetically, we weren't auxiliary police. We weren't process servers.
But maybe you weren't the guys that they, like, maybe somebody was like, oh yeah, these two guys that were driving a similar car just robbed a grocery store or whatever. I mean, you know, and I am not excusing all. I mean, there are there are some shitty police officers, just like there are some shitty citizens.
Absolutely. I agree. In my opinion, I think that, and if I had to put numbers on it, you know, because guys, we like numbers. You know, we like scale of 1 to 10, and we like 90, 100. You know, we like numbers. Okay. Like we like putting everything in scales. That's what men do. We like on a scale of 1 to 10. You know, what's this?
On a scale of 1 to 10, she's a freaking 9.
No, I don't know any guys that talk about women like that.
Oh my God. At this moment, we're going to take a break because I can't stop laughing.
Oh, crap. You're not going to goat me into that. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
We're not going to have the listeners.
I'm sorry. That was my
Mike.
bad. Yeah, no. No, you're a pretty decent guy. Anyway.
Define pretty decent.
White supremacy.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
So we're talking about white supremacy,
and we still haven't really gotten into that.
Right.
So let's skip all of the rest of the commentary and stuff like that. Go ahead, Nate. Looks like you got something to say, Nate. No, you're coming in.
I was actually just doing the producer thing and checking your levels after the 1 through 10 scale that I'm sure we've all done.
Don't even get me started on the crazy hot matrix.
Hey, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, this one right here, we're going to have to eventually get into the, I won't say the roster.
Lord,
I won't say the roster.
No, don't say the roster. But we will get in that. Maybe a different show. I don't even know.
Different show.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Exactly it.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Nate and I go way back, and there are a few people that will understand what I'm talking about, but it's not important to the situation. Okay. So anyway,
so white supremacy.
So we're talking about white supremacy.
Okay, so let's talk about white supremacy in America today. Well, we talked about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. I don't believe he's a white supremacist. Okay. I think he came here to Wisconsin with noble intentions of trying to help people protect their property. He got himself into a situation where he was being chased. He defended himself. I think he should do some time in jail, in my personal opinion, for bringing a firearm across state lines.
Right. He didn't necessarily do everything legally.
I don't think he should go to jail for murder. Okay. Should he? In my opinion, should he do some time for illegally bringing a firearm across the state lines? Absolutely. However, murder, I think that's far-fetched.
Do you think he would survive in jail?
I think he was protective. And I don't care if he would survive in jail.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right.
He broke the law, and just like anybody else, he needs to pay the price for breaking the law.
Okay.
It does not matter whether he will survive or not survive. Why did you even say that?
I don't know. I just, because he's 17.
Who cares? He's 18 actually now. But
he is 18 now.
Yeah. Why does that matter? Even if he was 17 and being tried as an adult, you know how many?
Yeah, that's true.
You know how many black kids are in jail at 17 years old being tried as an adult? And
I don't know that number. I don't claim to know that number at all. Okay, so yes, he should be in jail for some of his.
In my opinion,
he didn't make smart choices. There are no wise choices that really happen in that situation.
Right.
My question is, why, out of everything that happened in that whole entire thing, why is the media pressuring everybody to believe white supremacy?
Again, And I think the media continues to try to divide, or they have an agenda. Okay. And where this agenda comes from, and you can call me conspiracy theorist or whatever you want. I really don't care at this point. Where this agenda comes from, I have no idea, but they have an agenda to continue to divide America, continue to put a wedge in between people in the United States when it comes to mask and no mask, when it comes to vax and no vax, when it comes to white or black, when it comes to, short or tall. They don't care what it is.
I don't think the short and tall thing, but that's the next one. If they can't get this race thing to stick, they're totally going after us short shits. Kidding. But you're right, though, because there's straight and LGBTQ, and then there's, man and women, and they know that we can't come together and get into a collective mindset of understanding the negative aspects of the ruling class if they keep us separate. I mean, if they keep everything.
If you actively, it's the old rule of divide and conquer. I mean, it's an old trick. There's nothing new about what's going on in America today. I had somebody on Facebook that, I post a lot of crap on Facebook about just things that I feel like, not that I'm arguing for or against, but I want people to think. Correct.
Just think about this for a second. And I had a guy, this is a while ago, about a year and a half ago, and he just thought that I was basically ridiculous, and that I was.
Did he think you were a white supremacist?
No, he didn't think I was a white supremacist, but he thought that I was like anti-government. Okay. Which I'm
a huge conspiracy theorist.
Right, right. Okay. And that the things that I say were batshit crazy, and that there is no way that and I'm like, how can you not look at our government right now in the situation we're in? I don't care if it's Republican, Democrat, whatever. We are all drinking Kool-Aid, whether you like blue raspberry or you like cherry. It is the same fucking thing. And they're doing that on purpose to pit us against each other. And it's working.
I don't think so. I think so the only reason why I
like Ecto Cooler, by the way.
What?
Sorry.
Some people's children.
I know, right?
The only reason why I wanted to do this show is because I truly believe that most people in the United States feel the same way that we feel. I truly believe that people in the United States are not like white people, black people, Asian, whatever. I don't think that we are as against each other or one another as the media would portray us to be.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. So, that being said, is everybody just hypnotized by are we like the new zombie apocalypse or the upcoming I mean, there are so many people that will believe and spout off those talking points every single time.
Well, not a lot of people do the research, though. There's not a lot of people out there that's going to sit around and that's going to do the research and try to figure out, okay, what's really happening. Right. Let's get back to the Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I keep squirreling away and whatever the case for me. So what's going on there? And the case tonight. Where are we at?
As far as I know, the judge dismissed the jury for the evening, and there's no verdict at this time. Also, early on they dismissed the illegal gun charges, since it's actually legal to in Wisconsin to open carry and to have that. From what I understand.
So they're saying it wasn't illegal for him to bring a gun in from Illinois to Wisconsin because of the Wisconsin state law.
Well, I think there's a gray area because of the different laws between the states. Like if I have a concealed carry license and I'm in Wisconsin, but then I end up like driving across the border, what do I do with my gun?
You're not supposed to take your gun across the border.
Kyle Rittenhouse, I think, was 17.
Correct.
He was 17 when he came over the border.
When he came over the border.
Yep, when this all happened.
And it was within the boundaries, has to do with the barrel length. Technically speaking, I mean, the judge, according to the state, dismissed all the, he brought an illegal gun over the, no,
right.
I mean,
is there reciprocity or, I mean, I don't,
I'm not a lawyer, and it's just what I
you're
found.
gathering.
Yeah. From what I understand.
Is that what the defense said or what the expert?
Judge.
Okay.
The judge, who ultimately is, the judge.
I really am not. I'm not, and I will be the first to admit that I haven't been watching this minute for minute or anything, but I have paid attention to some of the highlights and definitely the prosecution and defense and their closing arguments. I don't think the prosecution did a very good job of making him look like the perpetrator
across the board.
I don't know. Maybe I just did. Did I miss something?
No, and that's the thing. So the prosecution's case completely fell apart because of the fact that, like I was telling you earlier, you can clearly see that this young man had complete control over his decision-making process that I can't, I cannot honestly say that I wouldn't have just shot everybody in sight,
right.
Personally.
Right.
Because I would have been afraid, what he was going through, being attacked and being hit in the head with the skateboard and being, and having a gun pointed at him. Mm-hmm. I cannot honestly say that for me, that I wouldn't have just shot everybody that was standing around me at that moment. He, shot the people who was attacking him,
right?
And he didn't shoot them until he was actually attacked. When he pointed the gun, they put their hands up and they backed off. He didn't shoot at them.
No. Right.
He left them alone because they left him.
If he was truly a white supremacist, he would have sprayed that entire crowd with bullets.
He would have kept going. Mm-hmm. Right. In my opinion. But he had very good, and I'm not praising the kid at all. I am not praising him.
He should never put himself in.
Probably, if we were parents,
he should not have crossed state lines with a gun.
Right.
And
he shouldn't have put himself in that situation.
Been in that situation. Period. Okay. However, to be able to have that kind of composure in the heat of the moment and only shoot the people who were attacking him, I think that there's a lot to be said for that.
This is the most composed teenager I have ever seen. To throw him on the stand as well. I know he broke down.
Oh my God! That is absolutely. Amy.
I didn't see. So I'm sorry. I'm building a new business right now, so I haven't been able to.
Totally. I like it. Like Core Realty Group.
Group. Yeah. Check us out January 1st.
No doubt.
Anyway.
So you have a young man who is taking the stand, and he breaks down and starts to cry on the stand about what he had to do to defend himself. And you have the national media mocking him. No, Joy Greyhart on The View.
Yeah.
Mocking him.
Why isn't that show shut down?
About the way he's crying on the stand, because it looks like he's acting. Like, oh my God, he's such an actor, and those tears aren't real. And blah. This child, he's still a child. I don't care if he's 18. Mm-hmm. He's still a child.
Yeah, he was a child
who went through a traumatic experience, who took lives,
and will never ever be able to forget that. Ever. It'll weigh on his conscience for the rest of his life.
And like I said, I am not defending him at all. I have no love for Kyle Rittenhouse. I think he did wrong by coming here in the first place with a firearm. In my opinion, he should be charged, at the very least, should be charged for crossing state lines with a firearm. Okay.
Okay.
Of course,
I'm not going to disagree with you.
We just learned that the judge threw that out, so that won't happen. But anyway, he doesn't deserve to be mocked.
No, I don't think that.
In the national
right.
media.
And I think that people like Joy Behar or that The View, all those people, they thrive on creating drama and argument. They are part of the problem. They are definitely part of the problem. They aren't going to spend an hour sitting in front of, whoever's watching them on TV and say, well, here's one side of the story and here's the other side of the story.
Right.
Why don't we let you guys decide?
Exactly.
No, they're going to bring their liberal ass opinions out.
Or Republican or opinion. And here's the thing: you have, and that's the reason.
That's true. I was just talking about. I'm like, Joy Behar isn't a Republican.
No. But that's the reason why we do this show, because it's unbiased. Like, we're not sitting here advocating for Republicans. We're not sitting here advocating for liberals.
No.
We're
advocating for the right thing for the people.
We're having courageous conversations.
Yes.
That are bringing people together to have discussions.
Right.
Okay. So you have some media outlets who are completely liberal, some media outlets who are completely, right wing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Conservative, whatever.
Right. And then you have us.
And then you have us. Yeah. So we should just get rid of everybody else and have everybody else. No.
Right.
We don't have the answers to everything.
No.
We don't. But we do want people to think about both sides of the story.
When is the last time you seen the KKK march in the United States? Don't get me wrong. As a child, I seen it happen. I'm teasing. Okay, I'm being silly. So let's go ahead.
Right. So
the KKK had no reason to come to Rhineland, Wisconsin, because there was only 2 black kids in the whole school. They had nobody that they could terrorize.
Right. Exactly. Right. So, but my question is now whether or not the KKK is a different organization in disguise.
Like Antifa or in my opinion, the Democrats who continue to put laws in place to try to that do not benefit the black community.
How is that possible? We had a black president.
What's that got to do with the price of tea in China?
Well, because that was going to be the savior of all the black Americans.
Yeah, and great. Okay, don't get me wrong. I think Obama was extremely eloquent. The man
he was trained well.
Was absolutely intelligent, and he is a great speaker. That don't mean shit to the black community. I apologize. They just, for my language, but it did not increase the black community's wealth. It did not increase the black community's job rates. It did not help the black community in one iota.
What is has there ever been an era where the black community has felt like they were
flourished
and being appreciated?
Yeah, when you had the last president, Donald Trump, had the lowest black unemployment rate. Okay. And black people were flourishing under Donald Trump. I mean, we were, when I say we, I'm talking about just, black people in general, weren't being held back. They were able to.
Right. Because you were respected to be able to handle.
Continue to move forward and start to create wealth and stuff like that. And then you had John F. Kennedy. So you had Donald Trump. And you had John F. Kennedy.
And maybe Lincoln. And Lincoln. You don't think that he did.
What? Lincoln freed the slaves under pressure. It's not like he was I'm going to free the slaves.
Well, but he did stand by that promise once he made it.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah, you're right.
So a lot of other people haven't.
Let's throw Lincoln in there. So you got Lincoln,
Kennedy, and
JFK,
Trump.
And Trump.
Trump's the only one still alive. That's weird.
And I hope he comes back. And not his son, actually Trump himself.
Yeah, not. Yeah. I like Ivanka. Do you know that she has? She had an American Jobs Creation Act or not community, but she has done a lot for American jobs. And she doesn't care. Black, white.
Like what? Like what is she like? I didn't hear of anything that she's done. Like I'm not aware of anything that she put in place or anything that
Oh, she didn't put it in place. I mean, not that she isn't a lawmaker. She's not a lawmaker, but she definitely campaigned because of all of the following that her father had. She would campaign for making sure that jobs are created, that it's not just going, you know, one of the things that concerns me the most right now is that Biden wants to take us, well, he doesn't know what he's doing, but the people that are controlling Biden want to take us to this green era. Okay. And I'm sorry. I had to laugh. Like, he doesn't know what he doesn't know what he's going. He's not. Because he doesn't. He doesn't.
It's so
if there's anybody
ridiculous
out there that think that
I guarantee you, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I guarantee you Kamala Harris will be the president if not a year from now, a year and a half from now. I guarantee. I'll bet you $50 right now.
I want a steak dinner.
Okay, let's say steak dinner at
okay.
That if not a year. So what's today? The 17th. Today is the 16th of November
2021.
So by the 16th of December, November 2022, 2022,
okay.
and or say February, March of 2023, Camilla, whatever the hell her name is.
Kamala Harris.
Are you serious? I've been saying that wrong for that long. Kamala? What the hell kind of name is that? Anyway, so
I don't know, Mikhail.
Okay. I'm being a jerk now. I'm being a jerk now. Okay, so Kamala Harris, I guarantee you, by February, March of 2023, she will be the president of the United States.
I think that's what the setup.
I bet you a steak dinner.
I bet
you a steak dinner.
You know, I like to go out with you for steak.
And I want the ribeye. That's $40.
I know. And you know, if you lose, you're gonna forget your wallet.
Me lose?
It's on record for the whole world.
I've known Mike for a very long time.
I'm a winner. I never lose.
Anyway, that probably could definitely happen because there is no way in hell that Joe Biden knows what's going on right now and that he doesn't just have a bunch of handlers. He is a front man.
Yep.
He is a front man that we could.
We just got segued from white supremacy.
Yeah.
So he's the head of the white supremacy.
Do you think 38 years ago that he was anti-black and
the laws that he put in place or the laws that he supported,
right.
The laws that he supported that disseminated the black male in the United States is extremely horrific. And the fact that people don't see this,
the fact that the media
have not studied have not understood that Joe Biden is not for the black community is absolutely ridiculous.
If you don't vote for me, you're not black enough, or whatever he said.
What? Seriously?
What is
that right there made me not want to vote for him.
Did you hear that? You know what I'm talking about.
I wouldn't have voted for him. Yeah, he said that if you vote for such and such, then you're not black, or some stupidness like that.
Stupid comment like.
Yeah, he put us in change. Anyway, I'm Mike Sewell.
I'm Amy Alexander. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment.
No doubt.